We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. This is Cheryl from Djadja country. Welcome everyone, my name is Cheryl Downs. You're listening to On 90, the pod, and this is episode 94. Welcome to all of my wonderful co-hosts on the pod tonight as well. We've got Madge up there in maybe warm and sunny Queensland, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad today. Had a third public long holiday, long weekend holiday in a row. So have been enjoying the day off today.
Oh, happy we didn't get one, so I wasn't aware. Happy days.
Labor Day. We do Labor Day in May when it should be.
We'll do it in May as well. I'm happy to have it twice. That sort of, goes with the deal. Eric, welcome back to the podcast this week. You had 1 week off and it feels like a year. I hope you used that 1 week off well.
No, I didn't. So let's move on.
All right. Steffen, talking about using weeks well, I'm sure that you have.
Hello. Yes, it was a busy weekend. Thank you at football, but it's getting cool here now overnights. It's 3 degrees tonight, but the days are beautiful here, as is Canberra's way. So yeah, it's not a bad time of year here in Canberra.
Very nice. And then finally, we have Dale on the podcast as well. Dale, I hope you've had a fantastic week in football or in life, whichever one. Or both?
Yeah, very, very busy weekend. Lots got done around the house, which has been good. But yeah.
Well, lots got done in football this week as well. But before we jump too far into that, episode 94, coinciding with cap number 94, Amy Wilson, Matildas cap number 94. And I'll put myself out there and say, Amy, it's really nice to read up about the history that you've had with the Matildas, but we'd love to learn more. There's not much written down. So maybe one time we can get you onto the pod and have a chat with you. You debuted for the Matildas in 1996 and played for the national team until 2003. Steffen, this is going to throw your way a little bit. Grassroots Club was Belnorth, which is a Canberra-based team, which is now no longer in existence. And towards the end of Amy's career, she did play for Belconnen United, and she was part of the coaching brigade for Canberra United as well. 40 appearances for the Matildas, 39A internationals, 2 goals amongst all of that. She was listed as a forward, but I also believe that she played some midfield and debuted as do some of our Matildas debuted for the Matildas before her 16th birthday. So quite a young starter. And there you go. That's Amy Wilson. So congratulations to you on your contribution to the Matildas. Steffen, given that you're the most Canberra-based at the moment, any thoughts or updates or inklings about Amy? Do you still see her around at all?
I don't, but I can give you an update about Belnorth. They do exist. The Belconnen United are a club which feeds upon 3 other Belconnen clubs, teams. So Belnorth feeds into them, Bel West and Bel South. So
I love the naming conventions there.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. So
quite complicated.
It's quite.
Why isn't there a Bel-east?
I don't know. I'm not really sure why. It's I can't answer that. It's quite a good arrangement though. It's been very successful for them because they have such a large regional area feeding into the one central club. So they are able to take the best, I guess, from all 3, and that's been a bit of a secret to their success over the years in some ways.
I've just scribbled down that maybe the pod title should be "Why Isn't There a Bel-east?"
Yes. Yeah, I noticed that the Bella Griffins are thinking about the same sort of arrangement with their new all-women's club. They've come out of Monero Panthers and Brenda Bell Blues, and they're thinking of trying to do the same sort of setup based on the Belconnen United model down in the south part of Canberra. So, yeah, interesting setup here.
Thank you for the little ad lib on there. That was really good. All right. Well, news of the week in football. Pop quiz maybe for, I don't know, anyone. Get on your buzzers. Legacy 23 ambassadors were announced. The 3 ambassadors were.
I wouldn't believe.
Good. Kate Jenkins was one. Who else was there?
Our woman Bill. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And a third and final, Julie Dolan.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your participation. Hopefully, and I did read something else and I got a bit snotty at the start because it said as part of the Legacy 23, there was $2 million going to New South Wales football. And I thought that was a bit average. That Victoria wasn't included is always my first position. But then I read it was from the New South Wales government. So
Yes.
even though I think that they should co-fund the Vic
I don't know
government.
they're going to give you any money, unfortunately. not the way that
And
government is
Not for the last
structured at
time I'll
moment.
say this. If you feel this way, Cheryl, just form your own country. Because
I'm
we won't miss you.
handout.
Like, and then if you form your own country, you know what this would be? An international WOSO podcast. And I think that'd be great.
Oh, okay. he's
we
pulled
can
himself back
trade
from
you
the brink.
$2 million for a working tram network.
Ooh, hang on.
Who says no?
I like this.
Yes. You can build our trams. Don't worry that we have a major manufacturing centre like literally an hour north of Sydney.
Oh, very good. All right. And in other news, Casey Reibelt to officiate. Well, this has already happened now. An A-League men's match, I believe it's already happened. So congratulations to Casey. You've joined the ranks of Kate Jackowitz as well in officiating a men's A-League match. There have been women on the sidelines as well. So congratulations to all of them. It's just football. It doesn't matter your gender. So it's great to see them out there. For the Matildas, we don't have any other signings that I'm aware of, which is something that we run past pretty often. And I'm not sure when the next window will be, but always keep an eye on that because there's plenty of players who could be picked up to go off and play around the world. Speaking of around the world, the Women's Champions League is up to, well, it's at the end of the semi-finals. The second leg was played just last week. Who wants to talk to it? Dale, you're nodding away, and I think this is in your wheelhouse. Do you want to jump in and give us your thoughts and we can talk about it a bit?
Yeah, for sure. So we mentioned last week that the results from last week we thought would probably stand and that they would be continued through to the second round. Barcelona versus Wolfsburg. Obviously, there was a big win for Barcelona at their home ground. Second leg was a little more complicated for Barcelona. They ended up going down to Wolfsburg at the Wolfsburg Arena. 2-0, goals to Tabea Vasmuth and Jill Roord. Barcelona had most of the ball, looked really good, just like, with the ball, but couldn't end up doing much with it. It's interesting. I was reading an analysis piece today around, I think it was Bon Marti who came off for Barcelona and just looked like disgusted with the way that they played, the fact that they couldn't create more chances, more quality chances. So I think that kind of speaks to how high they're setting the standard. I know that they have a very good team there, but it's really interesting to see that a team who's 5-1 up on aggregate really can still go at themselves and want to be better in an away game like that. Other good news out of this was there were 22,000, I believe just over 22,000 at the Wolfsburg Arena, which was, I believe, a record for a German women's club match. So fantastic news there. That means that there was, between these two matches, I think just under 120,000 people in attendance, which is really, really good. And again, the game being played in the main stadium kind of allows for this to happen instead of it being played at the training ground, which again we've said it's been really good. Really, really happy to see a decent result for Wolfsburg, though. They have a lot of players who if you would have watched the 2019 World Cup, you'd probably be pretty familiar with. Jill Roord, as I said, Tabea Vasmuth. You also had Hut in midfield. She's played for Germany. In the past. She was fairly good at the last World Cup. And obviously the legend Alex Pop as well, coming off the bench. But yeah, so Barcelona go through 5-3 on aggregate. And the other match was Paris Saint-Germain 1, Lyon 2. That was played at the Parc des Princes. There was 44,500 there for this game. The stadium itself seats about 46. So the largest crowd for a club women's game of all time, I believe, in France, which is fantastic. Obviously, just hosted the World Cup, so not going to be as big as the crowds there, but first time they've ever had over 40,000 to a club game in France. Ada Hegerberg started Started the scoring for Lyon in the 14th minute before Marie-Antoinette Kototo scored just after halftime, or just past the hour mark, and then Wendy Renard came on to win it for Lyon. So, as I said, 5-3 on aggregate there as well. I don't think that a lot of people would have been surprised with this result. I think more people would have been surprised with the kind of method of result. Barcelona. Lyon didn't really have a lot of the ball in this game, just having a look at the stats, 60-40 to PSG. But, I mean, like, Lyon have three of probably the best attacking players in the world at the moment. Mallard, Macario, and Hegerberger just absolutely on fire. They've got Lesomé coming off the bench. Like, they've got players, quality players coming out of their eyeballs at this point. 90 minutes for Ellie Carpenter, so that's fantastic. Matilda's fullback Ellie Carpenter into her second Champions League final at the tender age of, I don't know, like 12. I don't know how old she is. She's too young.
She had a great
professional athlete. Yeah, she's fantastic. She was fantastic in this one. And I mean, I think that the way that Lyon play really sets up well for her, because she does not stop running, and that's exactly what they expect of her. But in saying that, because they have quality down the right side with Cascarino, she doesn't have to overwork herself to get up and down all the time. She's got a player there who can also cross the ball. So
she had a great battle with Sandy Baltimore as well. So there are some great.
Sandy Baltimore, yeah, she is a quality player as well. Probably one of the players who, like, has really come up with PSG. From memory, I think, I don't know if she'd been at another club prior to this before she made a professional debut, but she's one of those players whose kind of fortunes have risen with PSG as they've become become closer and closer to equaling Lyon, which is really good. And obviously, like, left wingers are like hen's teeth. So if PSG have got a good left winger and they can stick her in there and keep her there for a couple of years, they can continue to build around her, which has been really, really good. Final is, I believe, the week after next. I think it's the 21st of May. Am I wrong?
It says 22nd.
Yep.
22nd. So 21st of May, European time, 22nd of May, Australian time. That's being played at the Juventus Stadium in Turin, in Italy, and it is going to be an absolute banger. I feel like that might be on YouTube as well, but there'll probably be some kind of domestic TV arrangement worked out for that, you would hope.
Any predictions from everyone?
No, not just yet.
Madge, throw you in the hot seat.
I mean, I even though I think Lyon were the better team, I didn't, over both legs, I didn't find them utterly convincing against PSG. So, and I must say, and I haven't seen the second leg against Wolfsburg. So I will have to go back and watch that one to see what they did to keep Barcelona off the score sheet in that game, because that might give a few pointers, but it could also bring Barcelona very angry if like you're saying, the reaction of Bonmati was anything to go by. So I'd be leaning towards Barcelona.
Thoughts from the rest of the game?
I don't think that's wrong by any stretch of the imagination. I can definitely see that, because Barcelona have tasted defeat now. They kind of know what they have to improve on. It's difficult to. There's always that saying that's like, winning one league title is hard, but winning two in a row is almost impossible, and that's what makes great teams and great coaches. So, like, obviously, Barcelona going into this game knowing what it takes to win a final from last season, I think is really good and would bode really well for them. They also have, as they said, they have that added experience of now being able to look at tape and go, okay, so this is where we lost, this is where we were beaten, this is where we can be better. In saying that, I think this will go to extra time, but I can't give you a winner.
We can only hope.
Time before that. Yeah, we always love bonus football.
Well, the 3 a.m. game is one of the hardest games, though, I think. Although maybe
3 a.m. is great if it's going to go into extra time, though.
That's true, because you just roll on to the rest of the day.
I can roll over at 5:30 and check what the score is on my phone, and then walk out to the TV.
Hey, it might be too early to talk about it, and I know that we're talking about Champions League versus the French League, but Ellie Carpenter has been with Lyon for a little bit now. Anyone know off the top of their head the contract renewal? Like, how long was her contract? And you'd certainly expect her to be sticking around there.
thought it was the initial deal was to 2023. I'm not sure.
Yeah, my understanding is to 2023, which would be the end of the next Champions League season.
Nice. All right. Good place for her to be. I'm sure she's developing.
But in saying that, like, she came in as a replacement for Lucy Bronze.
Correct.
Who, I mean, is still kicking around. So I can't, and I don't think at the moment there's any available young right backs who are going to displace Carpenter. So I can't see them looking elsewhere for another replacement for Carpenter at this point.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else want to add their thoughts to the game, or shall we press on and go off to the UK at the very least? No one else wanted to put their tips or thoughts in. I think it'll be Barcelona personally, but I think it will be a brilliant game to watch, and that's the more exciting thing from a spectator's perspective, because I don't know how many people either barrack for Barcelona or Lyon, but in this kind of situation, it might not matter if you're one of the people who doesn't have an allegiance, because you should see a good game of football or a great game of football. Let's go off to the UK and the FA WSL with only a couple of rounds left, or one full round left, and a little bit of shenanigans, maybe with some catch-up games. I'm not sure. Dale, I don't know if this is your wheelhouse again, or Madge or Eric or Steffen.
Firstly,
Eric.
Firstly, in the FA WSL, there was a catch-up game Friday morning our time where Chelsea beat Tottenham 2-1. So it's the standard for Sam Kerr: a start, a goal in 90 minutes. Kai Simon started and played 74 minutes for Tottenham. Then onto the weekend's action. Manchester City. Oh, by the way, in that Chelsea-Tottenham game, goals from Sam Kerr, obviously, and Beth England, with Tottenham's goal from Keris Harab. I realize I shouldn't be guessing first names. I'm sorry. Now on to Man City versus Brighton on the weekend. Man City scored many, many goals against Brighton. So 4 for Khadija Shaw, 1 the standard goal for Caroline Weir, then Alex Greenwood and Lauren Hemp. That's Man City. And then Brighton's goals coming from Inessa Cargman and Julia Zigliotti. But then Alana Kennedy started but only played 17 minutes. Do I have that correct, Dale?
I think she played 73.
73 minutes. Okay, yep, sorry. Oh, I can change that later. And that makes much more sense. And Hayley Rasso with 27 minutes off the bench. So then the other Manchester team, Manchester United, defeated West Ham 3-0. For West Ham, Mackenzie and Arnold and Tamika Yallop both played full games. Manchester United, their goals were Martha Thomas and a strike from the only person I've seen that can make a neck tattoo work, Leah Galton, and also an own goal. Then a 0-0 draw between Leicester City and Reading. Let's move on. Arsenal defeated Aston Villa 7-0, so big yikes for the villains, but at least Emily Gilnick played a full game, as did all the Arsenal...
Yeah,
the Arsenal trio play?
All 3 Arsenal players.
Oh, Williams as well. So that means a Williams clean sheet.
Well.
Excellent.
I think I need to go back and look at the highlights or the replay of that game, because I saw someone on Twitter saying that Emily Gilnick ended up in defensive mid at some point. So I need to go and
I feel like if you're losing 7-0, everybody should be playing defensive mid.
Yes. Everybody's either defensive mid or a central defender. So it's like, so good. Clean sheet for Lydia Williams in a full game. Steph Catley and Caitlin Ford also with clean sheets. Arsenal's goals. The standard double for Viviana Miedema, and also Beth Mead, Lotte Woodward-Moy, Stina Blackstenius, Nikita Paris, and an own goal. So that was that. Then a pretty tight one between Birmingham and Chelsea. The only goal coming from Penilla Harder about 20 minutes from the end. Sam Kerr started and played 80 minutes. Birmingham almost but not quite relegated. I'll get onto that in a minute. And then finally, Dale's Everton with a dramatic 2-2 draw against Tottenham. So Tottenham opened the scoring for Asmita Ale. Then Danielle Turner got their first equaliser.
Yeah, Danny Turner scored the first one, and then Spurs literally just went up the other end and scored. Not good.
And then Everton 91st minute equaliser from Finnegan. What's her first name, Dale? Sorry, I should have prepped more.
Megan Finnegan.
Megan Finnegan, that's right. I'm sorry. And then to all the final scores. So Everton committed to making Dale miserable up until the very end of the season. So the way it shakes out there, Cheryl is right. There's one more round to go, but a couple of midweek games first, and they have big implications. So it's rough for Birmingham. They basically need to win both of their remaining games to avoid relegation and hope Leicester City don't get any points. So midweek, they have Man City away. Best of luck with that, Blue Noses. And Birmingham will play a second city derby away to Aston Villa on the final day. So, and obviously, if Birmingham don't get those 6 points, Leicester City will stay up. Now, let me see. So there's also title implications. The other midweek game is a North London derby, Arsenal versus Tottenham. Arsenal, a draw in this game would give them a mathematical chance in the final round, but really they need a win for an actual proper chance because they're currently 4 points behind Chelsea, or Arsenal, with a game in hand. And then also, why did I click out of this at the worst possible moment? So the title's still up in the line between Arsenal and Chelsea, and also that final third Champions League spot, the playoff spot. So Chelsea will know they defeat Manchester United. That's it. They are the champions. Anything less, Arsenal could sneak in to get the title with wins against Tottenham and West Ham. Manchester United currently 1 point over Man City, but Man City have that game in hand. So Man City, if they beat Birmingham, as you'd expect, although they nearly didn't beat Birmingham the first time around this season, Man City would be in the position where they basically can win against Reading and secure that third Champions League spot, while Man United, as I mentioned, they played Chelsea, so they need a win against Chelsea, plus favorable results in the Man City games for Manchester United to get that third Champions League spot. Well, the other games I haven't mentioned, Tottenham, Leicester, and Brighton, Everton. And I mean, you can never predict in football, but that Brighton Everton game looks particularly grim, like a let's just get this over with and go to our summer holidays kind of game. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the youth players will probably be wheeled out for that because the others will be in Ibiza or something.
Yep. It might be in Ibiza right now. Sounds lovely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you both. Just quickly, Sam Kerr was announced as the recipient of the Football Writers Association Player of the Season award, I think. And with one round to go, plus the midweek catch-ups, just trying to think about the goal-scoring table at the moment. Is Sammy well and truly on top of that? Has anyone got that in their mind or in front of their screen?
So Kerr is sitting on top with 18 goals. Miedema has 14, and then there's kind of a way to go. Miedema does have 7 assists, so if it was to come down to that, obviously it should be a shout. But I mean, I can't really see that happening at this stage.
Yeah, she need 2 very big games against Tottenham and West Ham.
Which I
How
think
many
would mean that
other
Sam
Aussies
Kerr would have. I think that would mean that Kerr has now won 4 or 5 consecutive golden boots, which is insane. In terms of other Australians, let me see. I know
Caitlin Ford must be in there.
Caitlin Ford should be up there for sure.
Hopefully for assists as well.
Rasso, Simon, both up there for goals. Catley has 4 assists. Sam Kerr has 4 assists. Caitlin Ford has 3. Rasso 3. That's pretty good return. I mean, obviously, one of the things that we've complained about with the Matildas is that we don't create enough chances. So, I mean, if we have players converting and players creating assists, then that's fairly good. I will note that Caitlin Ford is the highest ranked Australian player in terms of disciplinary proceedings.
Good. Excellent.
I thought you were going to say something better than that.
That's the best thing. That's better than the Golden Boot, Cheryl. So she's really doing Australia proud by collecting all those cards.
The Eric Award.
Yes.
Let's just call it the Eric.
Yeah. So let's move on to Scotland. Might as well while we're here. So Celtic defeated the Spartans by many goals to 0 away from home. So Celtic beat Spartans 6-0. The Celtic is, of course, Jacinta Galabarachi's team. Jacinta with 24 minutes off the bench and football first star Liv Chance with the start, a goal, and a full game. So well done to her. But Jacinta Galabarachi named both Celtic Player of the Year and the Scottish Women's Premier League Young Player of the Year. She's certainly been making an impact in most of Celtic's games and has had a lot of starts. In the other game featuring the Queenslander / ex-Canberran / Irish woman / Australian / whatever, Aoife Colville. Of course, as we have covered, she's unfortunately recovering from an ACL injury, but her Glasgow City side with a huge win, 2-0 away to Rangers. Dale, was that at Ibrox? Or
I don't think so.
Yeah,
no. I think they played at the little
one,
stadium.
Yeah. Goes to the Ibrox.
Rangers training ground.
But even so, it's those two in the title race. So that's a huge result for Glasgow City.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eric. If you haven't listened to the podcast from last week, do yourselves a favour and jump in and have a listen to it. You can find it on Beyond 90, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcast, all of those things. Plus, you can listen to it on Joy Radio and Clutch Radio. The reason I say all of this is that we did have a great interview last week with Aoife Colville. So jump in and have a listen to it, including you, Eric. No, just joking. All right. Time to look in Europe for the football that happened around there, and it didn't happen in France, obviously, because there were a couple of teams playing in the Champions League. No matches there until this week. The same in Italy. The big news out of the Italian league is that from next season they will be turning professional, which, given the football that we've seen coming out of Italy more recently, it's been brilliant. And so this is just a catalyst to make it even better. If I just talk quickly to the results in the Netherlands, where we have Amy Harrison playing for PSV, they had a 2-0 victory, a 2-0 victory over Zwolle. I don't know how well I said that, but Amy Harrison started and played 80 minutes. So good on Amy for getting some game time. It's been a bit... There have been eras where it's been a bit lean for her getting some game time, but I think more recently she's getting a lot more. So maybe that'll put her in some position to have some more Matildas activity. Eric, one of your favourite spaces coming up now in the Serbian Women's Football Super League, if you wanted to talk to that one.
Yes, because I'm the one that had to remind you that Vesna Milivojevic exists, and I love reading Serbian Facebook pages. But yes, so Spartak Subotica with a 7-0 win over Mašinac. Vesna Milivojevic scored, played the full game again, and thanks to Dale for doing all this research, Spartak finished the season top of the league with 20 wins from 20 games and a goal difference of plus 129. So, yes, very dominant.
We did do a bit of research into that. They beat a team 29-0 earlier in the season, and it was somewhat one player scored 9 goals, and I was like, okay,
that's
I'd give up after that.
Yes. So 13 consecutive league titles for Spartak Subotica. Well done.
A very special thank you to Dale for the homework, putting together some of the show notes as well. Much appreciated. The bit that Steffen takes all the credit for is the Nordic spaces. So, Steffen, if you'd like to run through that and give us your thoughts.
Thanks, Cheryl. Yeah, starting with Norway in the Toppserien round 7. Kalle Rosbakken came on in the 55th minute for LSK Kvinna. Unfortunately, they had a 1-0 away loss to Arna Bjorno. And they would have been hoping for better. So the loss leaves them still in 4th place on the ladder, but they're now more than 10 points behind the top 2 teams, which are Vålerenga and Brann. Brann is ex-Sandviken. So they're already starting to lose touch with the top 2, but still hanging in there in the top 4. Good news for Carly, getting more and more game time every games, taking on a bit of a leadership role too, watching the game. She was certainly front and center in the huddles in the game, revving up a team. So it seems like she's perhaps got that sort of experience and role behind it. It's a very young side, and they still have some tweaking to do, I think, before they get their best formation and way of playing perhaps in place. So let's hope that they continue to evolve in a good way. Over at Vålerenga, they had a strong 6-0 win against the Valsnes. Ali Green's finding it hard to break into the team. The team is chock full of Norwegian internationals, and although Ali was seen in the celebratory photo after the game, she has not yet taken the field or been on a match card for Vålerenga. So he's hoping she sees some time soon. No doubt, still enjoying the experience. So Vålerenga top of the league and flying at the moment. Over in Sweden, Rosengard had a really good 4-1 win over Hammarby. So there's some Aussies involved in that game. Tegan Micah played a full game in goals for Rosengard. Charlie Grant came on quite late, but did a delightful little back heel flick up the left touch line to her left winger, which resulted in a goal. So terrific assist there from Charlie. And for Hammarby, Courtney Nevin played a full game, but there's still no sign of Kyra Cooney-Cross as yet being there for the club. Over at Vitsio, they had a 0-0 draw against very strong side BK Häcken. So that's a really good result for them. Hecken are always one of the top 2 sides in the league. So that's good work. And there were full games to both Polks, who's come back from some toe soreness, and Minnie as well, Katrina Gorry. So that's good that they both seem to be well established in the side already, which is great. Over at for Remy Simpson, she's playing with AIK. They had a 2-0 loss to Yamea. Yamea are 9th and AIK are 14th. So they're going to find that they're going a little bit tough, but Remy's getting good game time over there with AIK. She played 66 minutes, and this, I think in the first 2 games, she played pretty much close to both full games. So obviously having some good experience there as well. And finally in Sweden, in the second tier, which is called the Elitan, in the round 5 games there, Annie Haffenden came on in the 76th minute for Vecco, which was Winnie Heatley's team from last season, and they had a 1-1 draw against Sundsvall. So Vecco in second place in that league and doing well. Turning to Denmark. In the Champions round robins, Fortuna Hearing, which has got three Aussies in there. As we noted last week, they've already qualified for the Champions League, so they're able to cruise a bit now in the run home for this series of round robins. It was round 6 out of 10. All 3 Aussies played 90 minutes, so this is a real feather in the cap for Indy Riley in particular, who had been spending, I think probably I'd say the last 18 months coming off the bench. And she's got a fair few starts of late in the last month or 2. So that's really nice to see. Indy also scored the second goal in their 2-0 win over third place Brøndby.
Good to see. What part of her body did she score with? Do you know?
I'm just trying to remember.
Well, it's clearly not. It's clearly not the same famous goal against the Wanderers.
It might be something interesting.
No,
yes. No, I'm thinking the other way. If he doesn't know, then it wasn't like her famous goal against the Wanderers. So
no. I know the famous goal, but I can't. I think I did see some footage. She, it was from inside the box from the right, and she just finished with her feet. So, yeah. We'll have some footage up in the Nordic wrap of that goal, and there is footage available, so we'll get that up there. And finally, in Denmark, Jenna McCormick played 71 minutes for AGF, and they had a 2-2 draw against the top placed side in the promotion round robins, Sundby. So that's also a good result. AGF are placed second, but it's still a nice result, and they're well placed to play in the top league later on this year.
Yeah. Where do AGF need to finish to avoid relegation? I think that's the right phrase.
The top 2.
Top 2. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so they're going well for that at present. In Iceland, it was round 1 over the. It was a midweek start for round 1, which was interesting. It was very unusual. But Margot Chevet debuted for KR Reykjavik and received a yellow card.
Excellent. I love seeing Aussies making an impact. She could be the new Laura Hughes.
I thought I'd mention that for you, Eric. They lost 4-0 to the who are now the top place, Keflavik. So a tough start, but it's early days. So let's see how they go. Susan Fongsong Cam not yet listed on the match card for the team, but we'll see what happens next week. And Melina Ayres had a good start to her Icelandic football career with Breidablik. They had a 4-1 home win against Thor KA, and Melina joined the action at 38 minutes in that game and enjoyed the win with them. And that's your Nordic wrap.
Terrific Nordic wrap. Don't forget, if you're not sure where to watch any of the Nordic games or the highlights, you can always wait for Steffen's wrap to come out, and he includes loads of the best highlights. But you can also head to the Aussies Abroad post that we have. It's a bit of a sticky post for us, and we write down the details of how to watch everything. Speaking of how to watch, we move on to the US and the NWSL. So we've moved into the first round of the competition there. Previous to that, we've been going through the Challenge Cup. But Madge, did you want to take us through some of this?
Sure. So we've had not all of our Aussies were in action, but so Chicago Red Stars, who Chelsea Dorber has signed with, beat Racing Louisville 2-1, and Alex Chidiac has signed for Racing Louisville, but neither of them were in the game. But we'll look forward to seeing them in the coming season. Houston Dash took on Emily Van Egmont's San Diego Wave, and Emily played the full game. And just to make you happy, Eric, was booked.
Yes, I did put that in the notes. I did not have put it in the score. Sorry.
I know, and I was just saying, what was the score? I'm
San Diego Wave won 1-0, goal in the 86th minute. So, yes. Excellent.
So we've got coming up, there's the Midweek Challenge Cup semi-finals. There's no Aussies involved, but if you want some Thursday morning football, we've got OL Reign playing Washington Spirit at 10 a.m. and at 10:30 a.m. I'm assuming this is Australian Eastern time. Kansas City versus North Carolina Courage.
Go Courage! Anyway, sorry.
Also, there was a fantastic. I'm not sure if it was on the weekend. Angel City FC had their opening game against, I think it was North Carolina, yes, it was. From memory. Packed crowd, absolutely fantastic atmosphere. So we've talked about the amazing Angel FC organisation led by Natalie Portman and a bunch of other stars. So they've done a fantastic job, and the proof is in the pudding. When you invest, look at what you get. It was a fantastic occasion.
Yeah,
very good.
Does anyone else think it's weird that the preseason tournament is overlapping with the start of the regular season?
Yeah,
completely weird. That's football.
Weird.
That's women's football at the very least.
Yes.
Yeah, weird scheduling maybe.
Maybe they'll start expanding it out, and it'll be like a cup competition that sort of runs in tandem. So
it does feel like they're kind of still in that weird COVID hangover, because remember they had that like spring and fall series, and then they had like the Challenge Cup, and yeah, I mean. The NWSL is a very strange beast at times.
Yes.
If you do want to watch those games, should just mention they are available on Twitch.
Yes.
Twitch.tv/NWSL.
Yep. And just bear around, we've put this in the pod notes, but there are there's at least 3 NWSL official Twitch channels. I think this is to take care of simultaneous games. But yeah, we'll put the note. But yes, so I mean NWSL official 2, and NWSL official 3. That should be easy to remember.
If you sign up for them, you get notifications when they go live as
well.
So if you're a forgetful kind of person, you'll get those. Before we move into state football, it's not an obscure question, but given that we go around the world and we talk about different leagues and different competitions and different teams, I wanted to do a bit of a straw poll to see what's your favorite league, what's your favorite team, and why. Steffen? I want to ask everyone, but I'm throwing it to Steffen first. And it could be the state football, which we haven't yet talked about. So don't take that out of the equation. Please keep it to women's football to make it relevant to our wonderful podcast and our listeners.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with LSK Kavina. I mean, it's the only league that.
Do you support LSK Kavina, or do you support Carly Rosbacken? Because I have a similar thing with Adelaide United / Matilda McNamara, I think.
Well, I think, probably both now. I mean, now that I've watched them for 2 or 3 years, they sort of find their way into your heart a bit, I guess. And they're the only league I'm streaming, I guess, that's not sort of easily available. So I'm going to go with that, I think, for now. Yeah.
Madge?
Oh, look, I can't attach myself to any team other than a team that's local to me. So I like watching other leagues, but I never hone in on a favorite team. I can be interested in teams, but I must say I don't really have any overseas teams in any league. So, and I'm like that with all sports. Even though I've tried to attach myself to teams, but I just can't do it. But I think I'll probably actually stay with the NWSL, just because it's had such a rich history of also just being competitive. So I guess me not attaching myself to a team, being able to watch a league where you do have a bit of parity. I know that's not necessarily the European model, but having the spread of talent around teams, and where each season a different team might be the dominant team, keeps things really interesting as a neutral. So it's been a really exciting league to watch, and it's probably one where it hasn't had just the superstar cashed up clubs coming in to dominate it. It's been a slow growth, which I think is what I would like to see for women's football longer term, is actually build a league with relative parity across clubs that are involved in it, and just have a really exciting and vibrant competition across the board.
A couple of really good points there. And in respect to maybe the position of not necessarily having a strong allegiance to a club or an international club or an international league, I think there is research and evidence which suggests that women tend to either follow the game or follow players as well. Yeah. So they don't have this strong allegiance of it must always be Canberra, Croatia, or maybe that's not true. It's more about the player. So if Sam Kerr was to relocate and play for someone else in the same competition, maybe that might be challenging, but you'd see people maybe wavering out to where she's playing next. Dale, your thoughts?
Somebody much more wiser than me once said that men pick their sporting team when they're 11 and let it hurt them for the rest of their lives.
Oh, well done. You've done exceptionally well on that, haven't you?
I think that's pretty true. All of the teams that I support have been remarkably mediocre and unsuccessful. So, no, I mean, I tend to follow the women's team of the men's teams that I follow, especially where I think that there's, not necessarily equity. Of course, we would love to see that, but like serious investment taken in terms of the women's team. Growing up, as Steffen would know, when I was a young pup, or when I was kind of coming of age, we didn't have a men's football team in Canberra, so we didn't really have that opportunity. I grew up watching Brenda Belconnen play in the New South Wales Super League, or Premier League as it was called then. And when that kind of died, when they were removed from the competition around the start of the A-League men's setup, we didn't really have football in Canberra to cling to. So obviously grew up watching Canberra United. They were the first Australian football team that I really followed passionately. And that was also just because it was a bit of a lark with my mates and we were silly and young and enjoyed drinking beers in the rain. But yeah, in terms of overseas, it's generally speaking just that I follow the teams of the women's teams or the men's teams that I support, because I think that that's important. I think like if I think about Portland Thorns, like I've supported the Timbers since I've been interested in football in America, supported Everton since I was a kid. Marseille I've always been really interested in from a kind of socio-political point of view, and it's an incredibly interesting city, same as Liverpool, same as Portland really. And all of my teams tend to have that kind of, relatively progressive bent to them as well, which is, I think, important. But yeah, I think, as I said, as long as there's the club taking it seriously, then there's a team to support. If you've got a men's team, then you should be supporting their women's team.
Thank you, Dale. Eric?
Yeah, speaking of sporting players, where do I start? But so my team. Okay, so my favorite competition, I'm going to try to think of a less obvious answer, but yeah, it would be NPL New South Wales Women's, the competition closest to my heart. My actual team is in the New South Wales second division. That would be Blacktown City, who finally have a first grade women's team. It's took them long enough. So they're, just learning how to be state league footballers really, but they see signs are good. They seem to be progressing well. It's still early days. In terms of overseas, it's quite hard to follow the women's team of my English men's team, Leeds United. They are in the fourth tier of English football. I believe it's got some awkward name like the FA Women's National League Division 1 North or something. So yeah, that's it. But try to keep track of them when I can. In terms of perhaps another favorite league, I mean, I'm just going to make a meme of myself, but I have discovered while we were talking that the Irish Women's National League is streamed and on their platform, and signing up is free. So if I could pick a team overseas, shout out to DLR Waves from the League of Ireland, because they have a half Filipino goalkeeper named Eve Vidana, and she also has caps for the Republic of Ireland. And I think all of that is just wonderful.
Very good. Everyone has their own choice, and that's the great thing about football, that there's a lot of it out there you can choose. Dale seems very happy with that. I think I kind of live in the space that I was talking about, that I don't necessarily have a strong allegiance, and I tend to go for the ones that are prolific with Australian players playing in there because then I have a connection, or I feel that I have a connection, and ones that are definitely more easy to watch. I think when it's difficult for people to watch, I think it's not necessarily a winner for a fan, and particularly for people who aren't absolutely dedicated fans, that you've got no chance of having people watch them. And I'm not saying I'm not a dedicated fan, but the easier you make it to consume, the easier people will come and watch it. And then you might get ticket sales and merchandise sales if you have those kind of things available.
I was this close to buying Angel City away kit pre-order because they look schmick, but I didn't quite, because I've already spent too much money this weekend. Mm-hmm. So I resisted, but I may not be able to hold out for next weekend. More weeks. Yep.
So I think I've kind of swayed, and at the moment I probably sit within the FA WSL space because of there are a good number of Aussies playing there at the moment. If you've got Optus as a subscription, you get the really easy access, and it's a bit of a shout out to Optus, but also I'm not saying that, some of the free providers aren't doing a great job, but I like the mini matches. I like the highlights. You don't always have to watch the whole match, but you get across the whole league. So all of those things are fun for me, but I'm take the opportunity to change my mind at any point in time. Thank you for that. That humoured me a little bit. Let's talk state football. If we wanted to maybe just start in with the ACT round 4, Steffen.
Sure. It was a midweek game during the week last week, and Michelle Heyman snuck on the park. Very, very surprising to everyone that to see her appear for Gungahlin United. A very nice surprise. I don't think anyone necessarily was expecting it. In her opening game, they went down 1-0 to the undefeated West Canberra. West Canberra went on to record a 3-0 victory over Tuggeranong on the weekend. In their opening 4 games, they have not conceded a goal. The draw's been fairly kind to them so far, I have to say, but at present, they'll be taking a screenshot of the ladder and seeing themselves at the top of the ladder after 4 rounds, and they're doing it well. So good on you, West Canberra. I was at the Canberra Croatia versus Canberra Olympic game, and that's the 1 versus 2 game at the moment. So it was a cracker. Canberra Croatia, the home team, had some players missing. Three of them have gone on a trip to Vegas, including the captain, Brittany Palombi. So I suspect that if you'd asked them before the game, would they take a 1-1 draw against, I think, the highly rated now Canberra Olympic, they probably would have said, oh, yeah, maybe we take that. And that's how it ended up. There was a penalty apiece in the second half. And it's been a rough round for goalkeepers in the competition. We have a very talented goalkeeper cohort here. And Ali Hinson for West Canberra had a fracture in a hand, in a finger, as I understand it. And I also saw Nat Vasta stretch it off for Canberra Croatia with an ankle injury. And I think that's also turned out to be a fracture. So thoughts going out to both of them. So Alice Churchill, the stand-in captain for Canberra Croatia, put on the keeper gloves from left back into goals. I know, Eric, you in particular enjoy that when you see an outfield player come into goals. She did well, but she did bring down Michaela Thornton twice in the box. Ali Cook stepped up and smashed the first one into the top right corner. And having seen that first one, Alice anticipated the second one going in the same spot and got it exactly right. So
sensation. An outfield keeper saving a penalty. This is amazing.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, Ali Cook can take a mean penalty. So she did very well. Jen Bissett had got a 10-minute yellow card.
You guys you're trialing that, aren't you?
Early part of the second half. And she came back on the park and turned the game around towards the end of the game. So she was a dynamo in the last 10 minutes. I think Canberra Olympic up till then probably had the better of the game a bit, but she basically brought her team over the line, winning a penalty just before full time and converting it herself to draw the game. So, yeah, very interesting one to be at. Really good crowd. The canteen manager was telling me that they underestimated how much food they need. So top crowd also at Deakin Stadium.
Oh, so that sounds like the worst thing of all. It sounds like they ran out of chavapi.
I was going to say, at Deakin, you definitely don't want to be running out of food.
I've learned my lesson. I got one early. So
yes,
not a lot of,
that's what reserves is for. Get your food then.
Exactly.
Yes. In the other games, Gungahlin United recorded their first victory over Wagga City 5-2. And this is another interesting game last night, the last game of the round. Canberra United Academy on Hawker Synthetic, losing 2-1 to Belconnen United. Chloe Lincoln in goals, just seriously impressive for the academy. But the other seriously impressive thing about the game was Talia Backhouse's goals. So if you can get a chance to have a look at the NPL TV coverage, 30-metre screamer and a really strong headed goal. So showing the way for a team to get the victory for Belconnen United, who are currently sitting third. So yeah, it was a interesting round in Canberra.
Roll on, Eric. Thank you,
Yeah.
Steffen.
Firstly, with 3 Canberra Croatia players going to Vegas, Steffen, do you feel like working any casino or gambling related puns into your next NPL Capital Football match review?
I'll see what
Because I totally would.
Right.
I would absolutely do that, but it's up to you, of course. So in NPL New South Wales, firstly, a couple of midweek games before last weekend's action. So contrary to what was said on the pod, a game I was not calling on Tuesday at the time of recording the last pod. It was
Did we lie? I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I don't know. I mean, I like it that when I say I'm at a game, people just assume I'm the commentator. So it means all that shameless self-promotion has worked to an extent, but so I don't really mind that. But anyway, on Tuesday, Blacktown Spartans defeated Sydney University by 1-0 thanks to a sweet strike from Abby Lemon. Abby Lemon, very close to our hearts. She's the daughter of Kelly Lemon, aka KLZ Photography, who has provided us with so many photographs over the last few years. And it was Abby's first goal in first grade. So lovely stuff there. On Thursday, Football New South Wales Institute drew 0-0 with Manly United. There were some minutes restrictions on a few of their players because they had 5 call-ups to the recent junior Matildas camp in South Australia. So a decent result for the very young kids at Institute. Then on to the weekend's action. At the Festival of Football, it lived up to its billing. A 3-3 draw between Sydney Olympic and Apia Leichhardt. For Olympic, 2 goals for Charlie Rule, and that was cancelled out by 2 goals from Apia forward Sophie Hoban. Georgia Kutsumis scored a long-range goal in the 86th minute. Olympic thought they'd won it, but then Shay Connors saved the day for Apia with a goal in the 89th minute. So that's a game. And you can all look forward to my report on that when I get around to actually watching the game, because unfortunately I was somewhere else at another commentary gig at the time. So on up to Lake Macquarie Regional Football Facility, Emerging Jets versus Bankstown City. So the wonderfully named Molly Salvador scored for the Jets, but she could not be the savior as they went down 7-1 actually to Bankstown City. They were on fire. Daisy Arrowsmith scored 4 times, and Daisy now she's passed a half century of NPL New South Wales goals. Congratulations to her. Bankstown's other goals coming from Australia's tallest woman, Baxter Thew, who Neil Bennett would be familiar with from her time at Mum FC in Western Australia. Other goal from College Matildas fave Paige Hayward, and Olivia Price cashed in on a second half opportunity. So that was the final goal for Bankstown. And a tight one at Linwood Park. MacArthur Rams defeated Football New South Wales Institute by 2-1. Another goal for their Japanese star striker Miku Sinaga, and for MacArthur's star striker Miku Sinaga. And Paddy Cheryl scored direct from a corner. So Olympicos, that we love to see those. And Football New South Wales Institute's goal coming from Daniela Galic. I'm not sure if she's related to Bianca or Ivana or both. And then there was another 3-3 draw at North Taramara Recreation Area. 3-3 between Northern Tigers and Manly United. So for Northern Tigers, Hannah McNulty scored on her 100th first grade appearance for Northern Tigers. Also goals from Aideen Keane and Shadeen Evans for the Tigers. Manly United responded with a goal from newly minted young Matilda Carly Johnson and 2 long-range bangers from Maddie Zara. So that was absolute chaos. And Manly, in fact, got an injury time equaliser after suffering a red card. And finally, Spirit FC 1, Sydney University 2. So Spirit FC's goal coming from Talia Macri. Sydney Uni's goal, first one comes from Sarah Morgan. And the second their winning goal was set up by everyone's favorite hairdresser's daughter, Emma Ilioski. She set it up for Holly Caspers to ghost past the Spirited defense and score against a former club. So, High Spirit, you didn't want her. And then there was a washout, unfortunately. Illawarra Stingrays versus Blacktown Spartans. That'll have to be played midweek now due to a lack of available venues on the South Coast. So that is a bit unfortunate. But yes, that's the NPL New South Wales roundup.
Nice wrap. Thank you. Madge, you went to a game. I don't know if you've got coverage across the rest of them, but tell us about the game that you went to.
Yeah, so I went to Lions versus Eastern Suburbs. It was quite tight in the first half. There was no goals, but then Lions went on to dominate in the second half, and ending up winning 5-0. Marielle Ecker had 2 goals. Tegan Riding had 2 goals and 1 to Rebecca Kirkup. I think the best goal of the game was Amy Gunston, who I think is a great sort of a winger, and I'm sort of surprised she hasn't gotten a call up for the Raw. So I keep sort of noting that one, but she made a great run and a perfect assist through to Tegan Riding for Tegan's second goal, which I thought was the goal of the game. We also had a washout. So yesterday, Sunshine Coast Wanderers and Souths United was washed out. So unfortunately, that game will have to be replayed at some stage. I think Friday night, Brisbane Olympic played the Queensland Academy of Sport. Olympic really dominated the game. They won 2-1 with goals to Brooklyn Juilliard and Lua Suero. And Jonty Fisher had the goal for Queensland Academy of Sport. And then the only other game of the round was Moreton Bay versus Gold Coast, which was a 0-0 draw. Coming up next week, though, we don't have NPL. There's a break in from the NPL because we'll have the next round of the Super Cup. So a few interesting games coming up there. We've got Capalaba taking on South United, which is probably, they're both NPL teams. So that's probably going to be the game of the round there. Capalaba haven't had a great start to NPL, so they'd be wanting to get some wins on the board after giving up a lead to Gold Coast in the NPL last week. Lions are taking on Peninsula Power. You'd think Lions should be firm favourites in that one. Logan Lightning taking on Moreton Bay. Mitchelton will be taking on Olympic. Sunshine Coast Wanderers taking on Taringa Rovers. And then from far north, well, I think it's far north or central Queensland, we've got Country United FC taking on Clinton FC. Whereas the round 4 has already been played between one of the other Northern Conference teams, MA Olympic FC going down 3-4 to Edge Hill United.
I'm just trying to imagine Country United FC's.
Look, you know what? So it's Country United. Yeah, I was actually just trying to have a quick look at their logo, where they're from, but I haven't quite figured it out myself, to be honest.
Yeah. Shades of Mackay with Sundays. Magpies United.
They have a very fierce looking tiger in their logo. So
yeah,
well, that's a positive.
And
you see in the country all the time. So
yes, of course. And Dale and I are now sad because NPL New South Wales has no knockout cup.
No knockout cup. Okay.
Maybe a conversation for another time.
I don't understand.
Sorry, I wasn't cutting you off there. Maybe a conversation for another time. Who has the best logo and or the best mascot? There you go. There's a whole podcast on this stuff.
We'll have to do some.
Are we bringing in park football clubs? Like, because then
why not?
Yes.
Throw it all in. A very, very fast roundup of Vic football, just so we can get on to Queens of the Week. And also because I didn't actually see any of the games and I'm waiting for the highlights to come out. Box Hill United had a 5-2 victory over FV Emerging. Bayside United continued their form, which is not good, going down by 6 goals against Calder United. South Melbourne had a 3-0 loss to Heidelberg United. Again, it's a big turnaround with South Melbourne used to be one of the big teams and they've lost quite a few already this season. It's round 5 of 21, by the way. And then the final match is actually being played tonight in about an hour and a half or so between the Bulleen Lions and Alamein. So you should be able to watch that on NPL TV. So jump on and have a listen to that if you wish. Yeah,
NPL Victoria loves a Monday night kickoff.
Yeah, there's always a Monday night, and it seems to always be Bulleen at the Veneto Club.
So that team, that must be at the club's request, I would have thought, if they've always got it.
there some kind of like meal deal on the Mondays that the players have requested? That they're like they only want to play 6 o'clock kickoff because they've got the wood fires on that night. I don't know.
Could be. We'll have to investigate. We'll try and get someone from Bulleen Lions on the podcast and they can tell us all about it. So there's quite
How
a few
about Lani
players.
Johnson, who used to write for us? She's moved down from Sydney to Melbourne.
Could do. Could do. We can ping her. Queens of the week in terms of, let's just keep on track just a little bit. Eric, did you want to go first?
Okay, save the best for first, I think. Just going by what happened. So we're off to the FA Women's Championship, the second tier of English football. So the little backstory: Coventry United almost went bankrupt earlier in the season. They were saved. They were allowed to keep going. They still existed. People didn't lose their jobs, so that's already a small win. However, they were given a 10-point penalty after going into financial administration. I won't explain why, it's a bit too complicated. So they fought back from the 10-point penalty and avoided relegation on the last weekend of the season, thanks to Molly Green's wonder goal in the 97th minute of the final round. Look that up. I'll put that in the pod notes. A 35-yard free kick right into the top corner to give Coventry United a 1-0 win over Watford and relegate Watford instead of Coventry United. Incredible.
It's going to be my joker of the week, given that Watford is my team. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah. I mean, I hadn't heard you mention Watford till last week, but okay.
It's a long family history. So, but maybe I don't bring it up often enough. Who would like to be next?
Mine is the Real Sociedad women's team, who this week secured Champions League football for next year. Probably, you would say, maybe the fourth biggest team in Spain behind the two Madrid teams and Barcelona. They did win the Copa de la Reina, the women's equivalent of the Spanish Cup, in 2019. So they've kind of been there and thereabouts. They have an almost entirely Spanish team. I'm having a quick look at them. I don't think they have the same kind of rules in terms of recruitment as other Basque teams do, where they require players to be Basque to play for them. But yeah, see them coming up into the Champions League next week. I think there's 2 more weeks to go in the Spanish League. Madrid and Atleti will be vying for the third and final playoff spot for the Champions League, and they are currently equal on points with 2 games to go. So yeah, my queen of the week, Real Sociedad.
Yeah, so just to clarify, so it's the two Madrid teams, insanely fierce rivals fighting for the last Champions League spot.
Yeah, so Real played Madrid CF, the older Madrid team. This week beat them, so I think they're out of the running. But Real and Atleti will play off effectively. They don't play each other, but they're effectively playing off the last spot.
I see. Excellent.
I know the experience that Alex Chidiac had in the Spanish league wasn't the best. Her measure, not my measure. It'd be interesting if we could or will see some Aussies in the league again, because it'd be a wonderful place to be able to watch them play, for me anyway. Who would like to go next and tell us about their Queens, Kings, Jokers, non-binary people of the week? Madge? Right, surely there's a large assortment in your group.
I'll jump in. So yeah, as you know, being part of a fan group for Matildas Active and the Raw Corps, I'm giving a shout out to the Angel City FC supporters. So they've come up with a pretty awesome fan chosen player of the game award. We at the Raw Corps, we do give players an orange at the end of the game for our player of the game. We of course cribbed that from the Portland Thorns, who will hand out a rose to their player of the game. But the Angel City FC supporters have done up a bunch of boots in the Angel City colours, and they gave their inaugural player of the game award to June Endo, who had a fantastic game in their opening round this past week.
A bunch of boots painted in Angel City colours.
They look pretty nice.
Do they have like a name for the award?
Oh, look, they just had Angel City FC supporters player of the game was what was stenciled on the same.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Steffen, speaking of making sense, surely you will.
No guarantees.
One of us must.
I mean,
a collective group of queens for me, as well as one king. The Newcastle United FC women played their first game at St James Park and broke the attendance record this season for over 22,000 appearing for their game against Alnwick Town Ladies, and they won 4-0. Newcastle playing the fourth tier, so that's
insane.
It is. It's remarkable stuff. It's League One North, so
yeah, same. So it's the same league, same division, exactly the same division as Leeds United.
Yeah. The only thing I'm slightly sad about is that their previous ground was, I think it was called Druid Park or Druid.
Yeah.
That sounds like all kinds of things go on there.
I love those small grounds. It's like Lewis FC play at the Dripping Pan.
Yeah. So much history. Yeah.
There's so much darkness up in Northern England.
Yeah.
And just a quick shout out to my king, Sam Gray, the Wagga City coach, has played his coach's last game for the team over the weekend. He was the longest serving coach in the ACT competition at about 3 years. So that shows you how much turnover we've had. So thank you and well done to Sam, and good luck to Rob Tuxar, who's taking over from Sam. So.
Thank you very much. And thank you to all of you for your Queens, Kings, non-binary and jokers, no jokers of the week. Mine, just very quickly, you can't go, it's been quite a while actually. Sam Kerr continues to win accolades and have great games and score great goals around the world, but we very rarely acknowledge her for that because we expect it. But I'd like to shout out Sam. I think congratulations on another great season. You have been acknowledged. And Jacinta Galabadarachichi as well. Great to see her out there. She's worked really hard. It'd be great to have her on the podcast at some point as well. And I think there was an article that came out about her just recently talking about her potential international allegiance. So we will all have to stay tuned to see what happens with that. But anyway.
Grandparent rule. I'm interested.
Yeah.
Now.
I think I saw that. I think there's about 5 different countries that she could potentially.
Yeah, Italy,
right.
Argentina, Australia.
A country,
Sri Lanka.
I think a country.
Sri Lanka.
On the,
I think Sri Lanka as well,
Yeah,
perhaps.
her
Lanka,
dad's Sri
correct.
Lankan. Her mum,
Yeah.
from memory, her mum is Argentine. She has a similar story. This is a bit sidetracked. She has a similar story to Lionel Messi in that she's eligible for Italy because her mum has Italian heritage despite being Argentinian.
Right.
Well, she's a young player on the move, so keep watching her. She's definitely dedicated to her craft. But thank you to everyone who's listened to us either live tonight or if you'll listen to us on subscription later on. We really appreciate every ear that we get. And thank you to all my co-hosts as well for another great week talking about football. It'll be a massive week next week with the football that continues to roll on, including the end of a couple of seasons for the FA WSL. I think we'll be finishing up and some others. And then shortly after that, we'll see the Women's Champions League final, which will be, surely that will maybe not break records because I'm not sure of the size of the ground, but it'll be a massive match, no doubt anyway. So thank you, everyone, and talk to you next week. Bye-bye.